What if I told you that Whoopi Goldberg, the legendary actress and TV host, once traveled across the country by bus just to avoid flying? Sounds unbelievable, right? From her stunning New Jersey mansion that reflects her unique personality to her private jet lifestyle after overcoming her fear of flying, Whoopi's journey is nothing short of fascinating, and it all starts with her incredible New Jersey mansion. Let's take a look inside. Whoopi Goldberg's primary residence in 2025 is nothing short of iconic. It's located in West Orange, New Jersey, and it's a place that really reflects her unique personality and sense of style. The mansion is a gorgeous Georgian colonial home, built way back in 1927. You can immediately tell it has that classic old-school charm. Whoopi bought it in 2009 for about $2.8 million, and it's situated in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the area, known as Llewellyn Park. The whole place just screams elegance and history. One of the most impressive things about the mansion is its size. It's absolutely massive, spanning 9,486 square feet. Inside, there are 23 rooms in total, including 8 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms. It's set on more than 2 acres of land, giving it a really private and secluded feel, even though it's only about 14 miles away from New York City. That makes it super convenient for Whoopi since she works at the View Studio in the city. She's mentioned that one of the main reasons she chose this place was because it gives her the quiet and privacy she craves after being in the spotlight for so long. Walking into the mansion, you're greeted by a grand entrance hall that totally sets the tone. The decor is just as unique as Whoopi herself. The mansion is filled with rich mahogany furniture and lots of art pieces that give it this eclectic yet elegant vibe. What makes it even more special is that some of the art is inspired by Elizabeth Taylor, who was a close friend of Whoopi's. The rooms are decorated in a way that mixes classic, sophisticated elements with bold and personal touches. It's not your typical celebrity mansion. It's more like a home that tells a story. The mansion has some really cool features too. There's an eat-in chef's kitchen with beautiful granite countertops, which sounds perfect for hosting friends and family. There's also a gym for staying active, a billiards room for some chill time, and even a wine cellar for relaxing after a long day. Outside, there's a stunning pool and patio area where Whoopi can unwind, surrounded by nature. The whole property feels like an oasis away from the chaos of the city. While her New Jersey mansion is impressive, Whoopi also has a peaceful retreat far from the hustle and bustle. Let's head to Sardinia. Whoopi's Sardinia home is located on a peninsula, which makes it even more secluded and private. She often jokes that she comes from the projects but now has a peninsula, and you can tell that she genuinely appreciates the tranquility it offers. The house itself is designed with Mediterranean architecture in mind, which means it has those classic white walls, terracotta roof tiles, and large windows that let in tons of natural light. The way the house blends into the surrounding landscape makes it look like it's always been a part of the island. One of the best things about this vacation home is how it's situated right by the water. From almost every room, you can catch a glimpse of the sparkling Mediterranean Sea. Whoopi has mentioned that just waking up and looking out at the waves is one of her favorite parts of being there. There's a long terrace that runs along the back of the house, where she likes to sit and watch the sunset. You can totally picture her just relaxing with a good book, maybe sipping on some tea and soaking in the peaceful vibes. The interior of the house is just as stunning as the outside. Whoopi didn't go for anything too fancy or over the top. Instead, the decor is simple, cozy, and a bit rustic, keeping that authentic Italian feel. The living room has comfy couches, lots of woven rugs, and some colorful throw pillows that add a pop of personality. There's also a big fireplace, perfect for cooler evenings when she wants to curl up and just unwind. The walls are decorated with artwork that Whoopi has collected from local Sardinian artists, which makes the place feel even more connected to the community. One of the coolest features of the house is the kitchen. It's spacious and full of character, with wooden cabinets, stone countertops, and a big farmhouse table in the center. Whoopi loves cooking, and she's talked about how much she enjoys preparing meals with fresh ingredients from the local markets. The kitchen opens up to the dining area, which also has large windows that overlook the sea. Eating a meal there while watching the waves crash on the shore sounds like a dream. The bedrooms are all about comfort. Whoopi has made sure they're simple yet inviting, with soft linens and a lot of natural textures like wood and stone. Each room has its own little touch of charm, whether it's a hand-woven throw blanket or a piece of local pottery on the nightstand. The master bedroom is especially gorgeous, with its own balcony where Whoopi can start her day by breathing in the salty sea air. The outdoor space is another big highlight. The garden area is filled with colorful flowers and plants that thrive in the Mediterranean climate. There's a pathway that leads down to a small private beach, where Whoopi can take a dip in the ocean without worrying about paparazzi or tourists. It's the ultimate spot for her to just be herself, away from the spotlight. One of the reasons Whoopi chose Sardinia was because of how it makes her feel completely at peace. She's been vocal about how life in the entertainment industry can be overwhelming, and having this serene retreat gives her a chance to recharge. She's mentioned that spending time in Sardinia helps her clear her mind and find balance. The slower pace of life there suits her perfectly. Unlike in New York, where everything feels rushed and loud, Sardinia allows her to just breathe and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Even though she loves her New Jersey mansion, Sardinia is like a second home that offers something totally different. It's a place where she doesn't have to worry about work or being recognized everywhere she goes. She can just be Whoopi, not the celebrity or the TV host, but the person who loves nature, quiet moments, and the beauty of just being present. Whoopi has even joked about wanting to spend 6 months a year in Sardinia because it feels so right to her. She feels like she can truly relax there, surrounded by nature and the sound of waves crashing against the shore. It's not just about having a fancy vacation home. It's about having a space where she can truly be herself. Whether she's hosting close friends or just hanging out alone, Sardinia always seems to put a smile on her face. Before Sardinia, Whoopi owned some incredible properties. Let's take a quick tour of her past homes and why she moved on. Over the years, she's owned some really cool and unique properties that reflect different phases of her life and career. One of the most iconic homes she owned was her Pacific Palisades mansion in Los Angeles. Back in 1993, Whoopi bought this incredible Art Deco mansion for around $2.5 million. At the time, she was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and this house was like the perfect symbol of her success. The mansion itself was super impressive. It was around 7,000 square feet, which is huge, and it had 6 bedrooms, making it perfect for hosting friends and family. There was also a library, a guest house, and a gorgeous pool surrounded by lush gardens. The house had this really classy old Hollywood vibe, with ivy growing up the walls and tons of natural light flooding in through big windows. It definitely had that elegant, luxurious feel that made it stand out. Whoopi loved the house because it was spacious and gave her that classic Hollywood lifestyle. Plus, it was in a really desirable neighborhood where a lot of other celebrities lived. It was a place where she could unwind and enjoy the sunny California weather while still being close to work and the entertainment scene. But after living there for a while, Whoopi decided that it was time for a change. In 2018, she sold the mansion for a whopping $8.8 million, which was a huge profit compared to what she originally paid. One of the reasons she sold it was because she was spending more time on the East Coast and wanted to simplify her life. Plus, the Hollywood scene wasn't really her thing anymore, so selling made sense. Another major property in Whoopi's real estate portfolio was her luxury loft in Soho, New York City. She bought this place around 2007 for about $4 million. It was super stylish and had that artsy downtown vibe that really fit her personality at the time. The loft had high ceilings, big windows, and an open floor plan that made it feel even more spacious. It was the perfect spot for someone who loved the creative, bustling energy of New York. But despite how cool the loft was, Whoopi eventually decided that city living just wasn't for her anymore. The constant noise and the lack of privacy started to wear her down. She's always been pretty open about valuing her personal space, and living in the middle of Manhattan didn't exactly make that easy. In 2010, she sold the Soho loft for just under $3 million, taking a bit of a loss. Still, Whoopi wasn't too bothered about the money. She just wanted a lifestyle that felt more comfortable and relaxed. Another interesting property that Whoopi owned was a charming Victorian house in Berkeley, California. She bought it way back in the 1980s for about $335,000. And it had this super cozy old-fashioned feel. The house itself wasn't massive. It was only about 1,455 square feet, but it had a lot of character. It was built in the 1890s and had that cool New Orleans-style charm with a front porch and a converted barn that served as a guest cottage. Whoopi kept this house for nearly 30 years, which shows how much she really loved it. It was more of a personal retreat than a flashy mansion. In 2015, she finally sold it for around $2 million, a huge return on her original investment. One more place that stands out in Whoopi's real estate story is her Vermont farmhouse. In 2003, she bought this rustic, 6,100 square foot home on a massive 745-acre farm in Marlborough, Vermont, for about $950,000. It was like the ultimate countryside getaway, with wide open fields, a horse barn, and plenty of privacy. Whoopi appreciated the quiet, laid-back lifestyle it offered, especially since it was so different from the busy city life she was used to. But eventually, she found that she wasn't spending as much time there as she thought she would, so she sold it in 2012 for about $1.5 million. Throughout her real estate journey, Whoopi has made some pretty smart decisions, even when the market didn't always work in her favor. She bought places that matched where she was in life, whether it was needing a Hollywood pad during her peak movie years, a city loft when she was working in New York, or a countryside escape when she wanted to unplug. Selling most of these properties eventually made sense as her lifestyle changed. She realized that big houses and busy cityscapes weren't really her thing anymore. Instead, she focused on finding places that brought her peace and comfort, like her current New Jersey mansion and her vacation home in Sardinia, Italy. Just like her homes, Whoopi's car collection is unique. Forget flashy supercars. Whoopi's choices might surprise you. One of Whoopi's favorite cars is actually a Volkswagen Beetle. It's not exactly the first car you think of when you picture a Hollywood star, but that's what makes it so cool. The Beetle is an iconic car that's been loved by people all over the world for decades. Whoopi's Beetle is black, which gives it a bit of a sleek, classic look, while still keeping that quirky and playful vibe that Beetles are known for. You can often see her driving around her New Jersey neighborhood in it, just living her life without making a big deal about it. It's a car that's simple, reliable, and has a lot of personality, just like Whoopi herself. The thing about the Beetle is that it's not about showing off. It's more about being comfortable and practical, which is exactly why Whoopi likes it. She doesn't feel the need to prove anything with an insanely expensive car. The Beetle is just a car that works for her lifestyle. It's easy to drive, it's small enough to get around town without any fuss, and it doesn't attract too much attention. For someone like Whoopi, who values her privacy and doesn't like being in the spotlight all the time, that makes perfect sense. Another car that Whoopi has been seen driving is her Jaguar XJS convertible. Now, this car definitely has more of a classic luxury feel compared to the Beetle, but it's still very much in line with Whoopi's style. The Jaguar XJS is a vintage model from the mid-90s, known for its elegant design and smooth performance. It's got that old-school charm that you just don't see in modern cars anymore. Whoopi's Jaguar is a convertible, which means she can enjoy the open air on a nice day. It's not exactly flashy, but it's classy and timeless, which makes it a perfect fit for her. Whoopi has always appreciated things that have a bit of history and character, and that's why the Jaguar appeals to her. It's not the fastest or most expensive car out there, but it has this vibe that says it's been around for a while and still holds its own. Plus, it's a car you can actually enjoy driving without feeling like you're trying too hard to impress people. It's more about the experience than the price tag, which is exactly how Whoopi likes to live her life. Another reason Whoopi doesn't go for supercars or anything too flashy is because of her driving situation. A few years back, Whoopi revealed that she has some eyesight issues, which means she's not really allowed to drive much anymore. Even though she used to love driving around, people started getting nervous when she was behind the wheel. Nowadays, her license is pretty much inactive, and she mostly relies on a chauffeur to get around. So, even if she did have a collection of luxury cars, she wouldn't really get to enjoy them anyway. Because of this, the cars that she does keep around are more for comfort and nostalgia than anything else. The Beetle is something she can easily hop into for a quick trip around the block, while the Jaguar is more of a treat for when she wants to take a leisurely drive. Whoopi's always been practical about stuff like this, and she doesn't see the point in spending millions on cars she wouldn't even drive herself. In general, Whoopi's car choices reflect how grounded and real she is. She doesn't buy into the whole idea that being famous means you need a fleet of exotic cars. Instead, she sticks with what she likes and what makes her happy. Her cars are just an extension of her personality, quirky, classic, and down to earth. Whether she's in the Beetle or the Jaguar, she's just Whoopi, not trying to impress anyone or put on a show. It's kind of nice to see a celebrity who's not all about status symbols and just likes what she likes. When it comes to traveling, flying used to be a real fear for Whoopi. Now, private jets are part of her lifestyle. Let's find out why. Back in the day, Whoopi would literally travel across the country by bus just to avoid getting on a plane. Once, when she needed to get from New York to Los Angeles, she hired a driver and took a bus the entire way. That's like a 3-day trip. But for Whoopi, the thought of flying was just too terrifying to even consider. Her fear of flying actually started after a traumatic experience. Whoopi once witnessed a mid-air collision between two planes when she was younger, and the whole thing really stuck with her. After that, flying just seemed way too risky. Even as her career took off and she became super famous, she just couldn't bring herself to get on a plane. Instead, she found creative ways to travel that didn't involve flying, no matter how inconvenient they were. For a long time, Whoopi's fear was just something she accepted as part of her life. But eventually, it started to get in the way of her career and personal life. There were opportunities she had to turn down because she couldn't make it to certain events or film locations. Plus, as much as she loved taking buses or driving, it wasn't always practical, especially when she needed to be somewhere quickly. So, in 2009, Whoopi decided to face her fear head-on. She signed up for a special course called Flying Without Fear, which was run by Virgin Atlantic. The course was designed to help people overcome their anxiety about flying, and it was a pretty big deal for Whoopi to take that step. The course taught her a lot about how planes work and why flying is actually really safe. They explained things like turbulence, engine sounds, and how pilots are trained to handle emergencies. Understanding the mechanics made her feel a little more in control, and that made a huge difference. By the end of the program, Whoopi actually managed to get on a plane again. It wasn't easy, but it was definitely a huge accomplishment for her. Even after the course, though, Whoopi's not exactly thrilled about flying. She still gets anxious, but at least now she can do it when she has to. That's where private jets come into play. Whoopi has admitted that she prefers flying privately, because it makes the whole experience a lot less stressful. For one thing, private jets are way more comfortable and way less crowded than commercial planes. Whoopi's said that she likes knowing who's on the plane with her and being able to set her own schedule. It's just way more chill. And that's exactly what she needs when dealing with her anxiety. Private jets also give Whoopi the freedom to travel without worrying about being recognized or surrounded by fans. Since she's such a public figure, commercial flights can feel overwhelming. On a private jet, she doesn't have to worry about people watching her freak out or getting nervous. It's just her and a small group of trusted people, which makes the whole experience a lot more manageable. Whoopi has joked about how, when she's on a regular plane, she's basically the worst person to sit next to. She's admitted that she's that passenger who will grab onto the seat, gasp at every little sound, and basically just look terrified the whole time. In her own words, nobody wants to be stuck next to that. So, in a way, private jets aren't just a luxury for her. They're actually a practical choice for someone who's still working on overcoming their fear. Another big reason she prefers private jets is the ability to control her environment. She can bring along people who help keep her calm, play her favorite music, and just make the whole thing feel less intimidating. Plus, private jets can often fly at different altitudes than commercial planes, which sometimes means less turbulence. For someone like Whoopi, who still gets nervous, that's a pretty big deal. But despite the convenience of flying, sometimes Whoopi prefers staying grounded. Here's why trains and buses still have a special place. One of the main reasons Whoopi loves traveling by bus or train is because it just feels more real to her. She's talked about how flying makes her feel disconnected from the world, while being on the ground lets her see the places she's passing through. Whether it's watching the changing scenery out of a train window or feeling the steady rhythm of a bus on the highway, it's something that gives her a sense of calm. It's like she's part of the journey rather than just zooming over it at 30,000 feet. Whoopi has always been open about her fear of flying, and for a long time, she completely avoided planes. During those years, buses and trains became her go-to travel options. She once took a cross-country bus ride from New York to Los Angeles rather than getting on a plane, which just shows how much she values feeling comfortable and safe when traveling. For Whoopi, it's not just about convenience. It's about finding a way to travel that doesn't make her anxious. Plus, buses and trains give her time to relax, think, or even just watch life go by outside the window. There's also a lot of nostalgia tied to ground travel for Whoopi. Growing up in New York City, she used to ride buses and subways all the time. It was part of her daily routine before fame came along. Even now, riding a train or a bus brings back those memories of simpler times. It reminds her of when she wasn't in the spotlight, just living her life without the pressure of being a celebrity. In a way, it helps her reconnect with her roots. Another reason she prefers ground travel is the opportunity to meet people. On a bus or train, she can chat with fellow passengers and hear their stories, something she really enjoys. It's way more personal than being stuck on a plane with everyone in their own little bubble. Whoopi has always been a people person, and traveling on the ground lets her keep that human connection alive. A big part of Whoopi's financial stability comes from her work on The View. But that's just the beginning. Being on The View isn't just about talking about hot topics and interviewing guests, it's also a pretty lucrative job. Whoopi reportedly makes around $5 to $6 million per year from her role on the show. Some sources even say it could be as high as $8 million a season, but the most commonly mentioned number is $5 million. Either way, it's a pretty sweet deal for doing what she loves: talking, sharing opinions, and leading conversations on current issues. The View is kind of like a financial backbone for Whoopi because it provides her with a steady and reliable income. In the entertainment industry, where jobs can come and go, having a long-term role like this one is super valuable. Even when other projects slow down or she takes a break from acting, The View keeps the money coming in. Plus, being on the show keeps her in the public eye, which is great for staying relevant and keeping other opportunities open. It's not just about the paycheck, it's also about maintaining her presence in the entertainment world. Aside from The View, Whoopi has a bunch of other ways she makes money. She's been in the business for decades, so her film and TV royalties add up. Movies like Sister Act, Ghost, and The Color Purple still generate income through residuals. These movies are classics, and every time they air on TV or get streamed online, Whoopi earns a cut. That's the cool thing about being in iconic films. Your work continues to pay off even years later. Beyond TV, Whoopi isn't afraid to try new things in business. From clothing lines to wellness products, let's see how she diversifies her income. One of her most talked about business ventures was Whoopi and Maya, a medical cannabis company she co-founded in 2016. The whole idea behind it was actually pretty unique. Whoopi wanted to focus on women's health, specifically dealing with menstrual pain, which is something that doesn't get a lot of attention. The company offered products like balms, tinctures, and bath soaks infused with cannabis, designed to help women feel more comfortable during their periods. Whoopi was super open about how she had struggled with cramps for years and wanted to create something that would really help other women too. At first, the company seemed like it was going to be a hit. Whoopi's celebrity status brought a lot of attention, and the products were pretty innovative for the time. Plus, the cannabis market was booming, so it seemed like a smart move. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. By 2020, the company shut down. The reasons weren't entirely clear, but it had something to do with disagreements between Whoopi and her business partner, Maya. Despite the shutdown, Whoopi never regretted giving it a shot. She was proud that she tried to tackle a problem that so many women deal with and brought more attention to menstrual health. Even though it didn't work out, she still sees it as a learning experience. Another business venture that Whoopi took on was starting her own clothing line called Dubg in 2019. The whole point of Dubg was to make stylish, comfortable, and inclusive clothing. Whoopi noticed that a lot of fashion brands didn't really cater to people of all sizes, and she wanted to change that. The clothes were designed to be loose-fitting and easy to wear, which totally matched Whoopi's own style. You could buy WG pieces on Amazon and at stores like Neiman Marcus, which made them pretty accessible. While WG got some positive feedback, it wasn't a huge commercial success. Still, Whoopi was proud of it, because it reflected her belief that fashion should be for everyone, regardless of their size or body shape. She's always been about being comfortable in her own skin, and WG was just another way of sharing that mindset with others. Plus, she liked the idea of creating something that real people could wear, not just fancy designer stuff that only fits one kind of body. Beyond these business ventures, Whoopi's also been involved in a few endorsements throughout her career. One of the most memorable was when she was a spokesperson for Slim Fast back in 2004. It was kind of a big deal because Slim Fast was all about dieting, and Whoopi's take on body image was always more about being happy and healthy rather than fitting a certain mold. She brought her own spin to the campaign, making it less about losing weight and more about feeling good. More recently, she's been in commercials for Poise pads, talking openly about bladder leakage in a way that's both honest and funny. Whoopi's always had this ability to take something people don't really want to talk about and make it okay to discuss. That's why brands like working with her. She's relatable and real. She doesn't just do endorsements for the money, she picks products that make sense for her life and her message. It's not just about money, it's about how she lives. From hobbies to daily routines, Whoopi's lifestyle is refreshingly down to earth. One way Whoopi balances luxury with practicality is through her choice of homes. She owns a gorgeous mansion in New Jersey and a peaceful vacation home in Sardinia, Italy. Both places are beautiful and spacious, but they're not just for showing off. They actually feel like homes, not just fancy houses to brag about. Whoopi makes sure they reflect her personality, filled with art and items that mean something to her. Even though they're luxurious, they still feel cozy and personal, which totally fits Whoopi's vibe. When it comes to her day-to-day life, Whoopi doesn't act like some big celebrity. She prefers comfortable clothes over designer outfits and doesn't worry about keeping up with fashion trends. Her style is more about feeling good than looking a certain way. She's often seen wearing loose, practical outfits that match her personality, simple and straightforward. It's like she's saying that comfort is just as important as looking good, and honestly, that's pretty refreshing. Whoopi's routines are also pretty down to earth. She likes to cook at home and spend time with her family, especially her daughter, grandchildren, and great-granddaughter. Family is a big part of her life, and she loves being around them whenever she can. Even though she's got a busy career, she makes time for the people who matter most. Whether it's having a meal together or just hanging out, Whoopi keeps those connections strong. One of her favorite hobbies is reading, and she's got a huge collection of books in her home library. She loves getting lost in a good story and often spends her free time with a book in hand. Besides that, she enjoys watching movies and binge-watching TV shows, just like anyone else. Even though she's been in the film industry for decades, she still loves to be entertained by other people's stories. If you enjoyed taking a look at Whoopi Goldberg's amazing lifestyle, her stunning mansions, unique car collection, and private jet, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more celebrity lifestyle tours and stories. Let us know in the comments which part of Whoopi's lifestyle surprised you the most.